Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, welcome. I really hope you subscribe. If you've been here before and you're back again, thank you so much. You're awesome. You're literally the reason I'm still doing this. So thank you. So today I want to talk about how I got my mind ready for a C-section. And I want to just tell you guys the story about how I found out I was going to have one and, what I did until the moment I had a C-section. So when I got pregnant, I literally didn't even, I knew I had fibroids, but I didn't know how much they would impact or have an effect on me. And I think my only fear was how they were going to affect my baby, and I was just worried about that. So when I went for my first scan, they looked and they saw, a couple of fibroids in there, and the nurse said to me, she said, it looks like you're going to, there's a high chance based on the size and where they're located, there's a high chance that you're probably going to have a C-section. And at that moment, I literally put it in my head just so I would start getting my mind ready for it. And I knew that, okay, this was probably going to be the case. And my mom is a nurse as well and a midwife. And so she told me as well, my mom also said the same thing. She's like, yeah, the chances are quite high that you're going to have a C-section. But do not worry about it. It's perfectly okay. Lots of women do it. It doesn't, she even said the surgery doesn't even take time. It's not too long. And, she said, you're going to be fine. And right, unfortunately for me, though, I had one friend who kind of almost reminded me how, should I say, bad it was to even be having a C-section, because she was pregnant as well, and it was literally her worst nightmare if she was going to be having a C-section. I would say it's understandable, but saying that to me when she kind of knew I was going to definitely have a C-section almost felt like a slap in my face. But I didn't mind, I didn't care, I just stayed strong because I knew that it was still going to be a beautiful moment, it was still going to be a beautiful thing. And so I just started to learn about it, and, not learn about it because I wasn't going to be doing the surgery. I wasn't the doctor or anything, but I wanted to see other women who had had C-sections and know how they handled it, and, how the process went, how different it was from having a baby the normal way. And so I think I literally just decided to just delve into lots of videos, watched things on YouTube, learned so much. As time went on, I started to get this perplexed message from the hospital. So they were kind of not gearing me up for a C-section, which I found a bit weird. They were almost trying to just tell me, they wanted it to be that the C-section was a last resort. And so they were always letting me feel I was going to have a normal birth. But I felt like that was a bit, what's the word? It was a bit, misleading, because I wanted to be prepared. So I actually ignored a lot of things they said to me in the hospital and prepared my mind for a C-section. Who knows? Maybe I called it to myself, because some people who are quite spiritual will be like, well, if you were preparing your mind for a C-section, you kind of called it to yourself. But I just wanted to be realistic. So I didn't want to be hoping and praying for something that probably wasn't going to happen. Based on the size of my fibroids, based on the location, if I was living in a village or something, and if I didn't have the kind of medical care I did, I probably would have been one of those women back in Nigeria that die when they're trying to have a baby. And then what do they say? They say, some enemy tied their womb. And if you're not Nigerian and you don't know what that means, basically in Nigeria, some of us, excluding me, but some of us believe that women's wombs can be tied. And so when she's trying to have a baby and the baby is not coming out, and she's pushing and the baby is not coming out and she dies, they believe it's a spiritual thing, and somebody just tied the womb in the spiritual realm and stopped the baby from coming out. It could have been fibroids. It could have been anything, but this is just, that level of ignorance that makes us think that way. So, if I were somebody like that, I probably would have died in childbirth. And so it made me look at it from a grateful perspective. Like, I was more grateful that I was even able to have a C-section. Have you subscribed? Please click the subscribe button. Thank you. So that's one thing. Some people regret having a C-section. Some people feel bad, but I feel like you should be grateful. It's like a miracle happening. It's a beautiful moment. It's something that ordinarily you probably would have died. For a doctor to decide that you're going to have a C-section, the doctor probably knows that your life is at risk if you try a normal way. Unless you decide on your own, because I know there's some people who say, okay, I want to have a C-section, I don't want to push, I don't want to do any of those things, and that's fine too, that's fine. But in the case where it's the doctor who says you're gonna have a C-section, they're saving your life and your baby's life. And so it's something you should be grateful for. You should look at it with gratitude. You should be happy that we even have this level of, should I say, technology. We're able to do things this way, because if there was no technology and we had not gone this far in life, that would have killed, you. And so if you look at it from that perspective and know that this is something to be grateful for, I think you'll be happy about having a C-section. I think you'll be grateful. I think you will actually even be excited, because I was kind of excited. Another thing is, I don't know, when women push, all that pain that they go through, honestly, I'm not sure I wanted to feel that pain too, because women really describe it as like the worst pain in the world. And before I got pregnant, I had like the worst nightmare with my periods. Like, my periods were horrible. And some people would describe labor pain as like period pain times 1,000. And so in a way, I was also grateful that I wasn't going to be having that labor pain, right? Especially since mine was at 37 weeks. I didn't even get to 40 weeks. I wasn't in labor. It was all just done. So in a way, I was grateful for that. So I think this major way that I got my mind prepared was to look at having a C-section from a gratitude perspective. Like, I was grateful for it rather than feeling any form of resentment. The only thing I remember that made me feel a bit weird was the fact that when a woman has a C-section, they don't bring your baby directly to you in the same way that they do once they remove a baby from a vaginal birth. When you have a C-section, they literally will just flash your baby to you and take the baby away and, do other things with you down there and all that stuff, and also with the baby. So in a way, that for me was a little bit heartbreaking, but I had to just get over it, because it's still my baby. Nothing's gonna take my baby from me. The moment was still quite precious. The moment they pulled my baby out of my womb and I heard his cry, I just burst out crying. It was still so beautiful. Nothing took away the beauty of having my baby. Nothing at all. Not even the fact that it wasn't vaginal. Nothing. It was just as beautiful. I cried so much. The reason I'm saying this to you is I want you to know that having a C-section is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You are still so strong. Women are so strong. And I feel like some women are made to feel like they're weaker if they don't have a vaginal birth. But I want you to know today that you are not weaker in any way. You are super, perhaps even stronger. Like, let me whisper that to you. You're so strong, because do you know the amount of pain you will go through after you have a C-section? I'm not saying this to scare you, but you're probably going to have a lot of pain. You will be given some medication, so don't worry, you're going to be all right. You probably will not even recognize, you won't even notice you're having pain. And that happened to me. And you have so much pain, but yet you will still be there for your baby. And that is the beautiful thing about motherhood. The fact that nothing can stop you from being a mother. When you're a mother, you're a mother. You will still experience the beauty of it in the same way, perhaps even in more beautiful ways than, other people. And so, just see whatever pain you go through as a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful pain. And, when I say you probably won't even feel the pain, for me, I don't know if you watched any of my previous videos or even my podcast, if you've listened. There was a part where I talked about how, like, I didn't even know how much pain I had. I think my pain threshold is quite high. And so when the doctor or the nurse would come and ask me, oh, what's your level of pain between 1 and 10? I'd be like 5. And in hindsight, my pain was probably like a 9.5. Like, it was so bad. I had so much. I couldn't stand up or sit down without help. That's a lot of pain. Like, you literally cannot stand. You can't sit unless somebody is holding you, like you're handicapped. And I didn't even know, because I had my baby. I didn't know. I actually thought it was normal. I thought it was normal. And it takes a bit longer to heal from the C-section, but you will heal and you'll be fine and you'll be perfect. And, there'll be nothing wrong with you. There's to me, this is something positive. Well, I don't know if to say it's positive, but it's something I was grateful for. Women who have vaginal births complain about having pelvic floor issues. So when they sneeze, they pee. But I never had that problem. And I'm kind of grateful, because that's a bit gross. Let's face it. So just be grateful, just take everything, with gratitude. Just be thankful to God for however you're able to have a baby. Women have babies with assisted reproductive techniques. It's perfectly normal. It's fine. We really need to stop placing pedestals on things like childbirth, or childbearing, or even any form of reproduction. We shouldn't say, oh, this one had it this way, so she's better, or this one had IVF, and so we whisper it like having an IVF is a big deal. Like, it's a very normal and perfect way to have a baby, and the babies come out perfect and beautiful and amazing and turn out to be successful. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that, especially now in our African societies. We really need to stop stigmatizing women who have had IVF or assisted reproductive techniques or C-sections, or looking down or feeling better than the other woman, because some of us have health issues that require us to do these things. And if we're doing it, we're not doing it just because, if we're having a C-section, we're not having a C-section just because we're trying to be divas, even though some of us would like to be divas. But we're having a C-section because we have to, and it is a beautiful way to have our beautiful babies, and we shouldn't be judged for it. I think that's all I want to say today. I'm not going to go on for too long. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do remember to give it a thumbs up. Don't give it a thumbs down. Some people do give it a thumbs down, but that's their problem, isn't it? Well, yeah, but thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.